Who is your Mount Rushmore of country music? I'm going to show you. George Strait, George Jones, Keith Whitley, and Merle Haggard. It's on the arm, bro.
You already have his. Oh,
It's there. It's really there.
So you already had that question done. That you'll never have
you're
a
not
better.
You're not going to have anybody do that.
Never.
Never. No.
And that question is the most common one in the boot. That he just I have to now take that question out. And we were getting hot with the Mount Rushmore. Like I was thinking maybe I could sell it to a sponsor. It was so good. Now nobody will ever beat that. He literally has it tattooed on his arm.
It's right there. I could add one on. I could add another row of those too, which would probably be like Charlie Daniels and Randy Travis. I mean, there's a whole other list of stuff there. Hey guys, I'm Tracy Lawrence, and you're listening to Like a Farmer.
$13 million albums sold and 18 number ones. Does that sound right?
Yes.
I mean, because Tracy, now you've been doing this for a long time. I'm sure.
Yeah, I wish it was a lot more.
When you sit back today and like think about that, and because we're going to be talking about it all today. I mean, you've seen some changes, not to age you at all, Tracy, but like when you actually sit back and finally say, "Man, let me just think about what all I've done in country music." How does that feel?
You know, I don't take any of it for granted because I put a lot of time and sweat and, you know, a lot of dead brain cells into it over the years, that's for sure. But I do appreciate the validity of it all because, I mean, you know, I say this a lot for every one of us that have any kind of success in this business. There's 1,000 kids out there that are dreaming the dream and looking to try to find a way to make it happen that just never can get there. So I feel very blessed. You know, but I've put my time in. I've worked real hard, and I've fallen down on my face a few times. You know, I was told by a lot of older guys that I've known over the years, man, don't get into this business to make money. You got to do it because you love it, because you know you're gonna lose your ass more than once. Mm-hmm. But you know, you got to be passionate about it because the hard times are going to come too. So if you're not willing to dedicate yourself to it, it's not the business for you, because it is. It's hard on marriages. It's hard on families. It's hard on, and it has its downside to it, believe me. But the upside far outweighs it.
No kidding.
Yeah.
When did you see? These are always my favorite episodes because I get some of these new cats, these young cats in the business. They come on and we talk about this and talk about that. But then I get the veterans on. They're just always great conversations. When did you see this new style of country music? What I mean by new style of having to get more eyeballs on social media is taking a huge play now, you know, doing all of your, I'm curious to see what you would say on the number one thing when it comes to marketing, Tracy Lawrence. But at what point were you like, man, I might need to switch how I'm promoting my music or promoting my brand? Was there ever a year that you said, hey, this music is really changing, or have you just been kind of staying the normal path?
It's been little steps along the way that have changed. And I remember I lost my last major deal that I had was back about 2006, and I'd been on DreamWorks, and DreamWorks merged into Universal, and I didn't really like the administration at Universal, so I wasn't there very long. But getting off that label, and things were starting to change, but that was before the social media really hit. You know, smartphones were just kind of right around the corner, and that's when things really started changing a lot. But I don't think any of us could have really envisioned what that would mean, you know, looking forward to where we are now. But, you know, and I'll kind of preface this along the way because there's many steps to it. You know, there is an emotional deflation that happens when you lose a record deal after you've been on that treadmill for so many years. You know, it's hard to describe to people. When you're playing the chart game, there's a high and a low that comes with it. You know, you put a single out, you go to the top of the charts. There's an emotional roller coaster that you go on. You're feeling the intensity from the crowd swell and the way that people react to songs. And then when that goes away, it's like, wow, what's left? What do I do now with my career? And it takes a little while to kind of figure that out. At the place that I'm at now, I understand that there's a lot of great things that you can enjoy post side of being a radio artist and being on a major label. It takes a while to figure all that stuff out now. But there, in the course of that time, from about 2010 to where I'm at now, getting off of a major label and playing around with social media, working the independent chart, trying to promote records as an independent artist on an independent record label and all that stuff. Now you've got so many more tools at your disposal that there are kids that are filling up arenas out there that are having tremendous success that have barely had any radio airplay. So the gatekeepers have been taken out of play a little bit. So you have a lot more things that you can use to promote your brand, to promote your music, and all those other things. But I'm enjoying all the different aspects of it. Social media, and I'm not. I mean, I didn't grow up with social media, so I'm not a person that posts all the time. I don't like it. I feel like it's too invasive into my personal life.
Do you have a TikTok?
I do, but I don't know the password.
Gotcha.
But they, if they need something from me, they'll send me something. Can you make a comment on this or whatever? But I'm not living in that world all the time, and I try. It's just not, it's just not the world that I grew up in. I look at it more as a marketing tool to try to keep the brand out there, to promote all these other things that you've got going on. But it's not something that I'll live in, day out.
Yeah, I think you can look at it as a brand, whether you have to do something for music, the seasonings that we're going to talk about today. I think you're spot on. How long would you say you've been doing the music? Give me a range.
Professionally, I had my first single. I moved to Nashville in the fall of 1990. I got my deal. I signed the paperwork on my record deal the day I walked in the studio when I cut my first record, and that would have been May of 1991. Sticks and Stones came out in August of that year, went #1 in January, I believe. So, I mean, I had basically a 10-year run or so at Atlantic, which was the label that I was on. So, I mean, you're talking about, 35, 36 years doing it at a professional level. But I got on stage with a band for the first time when I was like 14 years old. So, I've been doing this a long time. Played in a marching band in high school and played a few different instruments and got a music scholarship to college, went a couple of years to university and sang in the choral ensemble with the powder blue tuxedos and all that crap. So, I've been doing it a long time.
So 1990, you come into Nashville. What made you make that decision to move to Nashville? And was Nashville just now getting to that point in 1990 of like, hey, if you're in music, you got to be in Nashville, or had it been there for?
It to me
Broadway definitely wasn't.
It was the mecca for me as far as music wise, but a lot of things that were going on then, which were very cutting edge. The video world was very important.
Yes.
Stan Hitchcock started CMT, and I remember when where this building is right here, one street over, there was a little corner lot just up from where Losers is, right there on the corner. There was a little single-story white house there where CMT started, and Stan Hitchcock started that video thing and had it on cable and network TV and things. And then when it sold out and it got corporate, then the music videos really exploded. So all that stuff was just still in its infancy. I was living in Louisiana at the time, and I was playing in a band called Phoenix, and I was working the Louisiana circuit a little bit, and all the guys in the band with me were, they were all middle-aged, with wives and kids and jobs and stuff, and, it was just supplementing their income. Here I am, a kid, dream the dream. It's like, I'm going to Nashville. None of them had any desire or believed there was any chance in hell that I was ever going to make it doing what I was wanting to do, but I just had to kind of pull the trigger and make a leap of faith and go.
The amount of change just the city as a whole has had since 1990, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Like, I guess when Jamie Johnson came in, and Jamie Johnson came on the show and showed up like 3 hours early, and we sat there and talked off camera for about 2.5 hours. But I guess he got in town like maybe 2001, and he was like, yeah, I could pull up. He may have said Tootsie's or somewhere. He's like, I could pull up in my truck and just get out.
Yeah. Can't do any of that stuff nowadays. Though, and Music Row was completely different too. I always looked at it like the Music City and Music Row was like this little town inside this big city. It had its own culture, all these condos and apartments and all the modern buildings that are on 16th, 17th, 18th Avenue now. And that was all little single-story houses. You had a few 2- and 3-story office buildings that had the record labels and stuff in them. But everybody traveled up and down the alleys. All the publishing companies, all the little studios. It had its own culture, which I thought was very cool. And now it's like all that history's kind of gone now. It makes me a little bit sad.
Yeah.
Nashville as a city is thriving, and I
Big time.
love, the food scene's amazing. We've got a
Sports
great
scenes.
sports culture that's come in. I saw the city change tremendously when we had the NFL draft. The year we had the draft going on and the Preds were in the Stanley Cup playoffs all at the same time, you had a half a million people on Lower Broad that year. And really, the way that we were able to accommodate lodging and the streets the infrastructure could handle all of it, and the restaurant scene could handle all of it. You're talking about 500,000 people influxing a city, that the airports and the infrastructure can handle all of it. That's when people really started taking notice that Nashville was going to be a world-class city. And just since then, the airports changed. Nashville has absolutely exploded. Lower Broad, I mean, it's the modern-day Vegas. It's got everything Vegas has without the casinos.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Was there, from really 1990 to now, was there a time early on that you thought maybe you didn't make the right decision when it comes to being in music, or was it always?
I don't know if I've heard of a deal happening faster for anybody, because I'll put this in perspective. I moved to Nashville in September of 1990. I didn't know anybody when I got here. I never knocked on the door of any record labels. I did a few crappy demos. My whole purpose, my whole existence was meeting every songwriter and road musician. There was about 4 clubs that I hung out at, and they were all the places where the songwriters and the road musicians and stuff would come play, the little places off the beaten path. Gabe's, the Broken Spoke, the Rose Room, places. Nowadays, you can't have those kind of places because social media, they can't stay hidden.
Sure.
But so from the time I got to town, the first part of September in 1990, I signed my deal in May of 91, and I never knocked on the door of a record label in town. It happened for, you're talking about 7 months. It was pretty fast for somebody that didn't have a manager. I'd never been to this city before I came. I hadn't been past Memphis. I mean, so that's pretty fast for anybody that didn't have any connections or any reason. I had $700 in my pocket when I came here. That was it.
Wow.
Crazy.
So you were like, okay, I feel pretty good about the decision I made. Yeah. Now, what I think about Tracy Lawrence, and there's a few songs, keep in mind, because, I'm 92. So you're going to say, well, you're missing a whole bunch of songs prior to, but that's why I say it. There's a list of just old school traditional country music songs that are like, you know what, that's what I remember, whether it's at my grandparents' house or riding with my mom to the farm or whatever. And you've got Paint Me in Birmingham's just unbelievable. Whether it's, Alan Jackson's got a couple of them in Family Tradition. There's some of them, but what would you say when it comes to that style of country music and then today's style of country music? And there's some people getting more into that traditional, but why is it that traditional sound's coming back, in my opinion?
I think it's cyclical. It swings through every 10, 15 years or so, at least little drops of it. We're kind of having the Zach Top era right now. But, Nashville's always had the pop influx. You go back to the 80s before I came. I was listening to George Strait and Randy Travis and all that stuff, but you still had Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton in Alabama, and they were as pop as they could be.
That's a great point.
So, those other elements have always been there, but I don't think you'll ever get rid of the foundation of what makes country music what it is. That's traditional country instrumentation. It's songs that people relate to in their everyday life.
Storytelling.
It's storytelling. It's crying in your beer. It's heartbreak songs. It's sitting on the front porch. It's those things to me are what make country music what it is.
Paint Me in Birmingham. What was
Man, I wish there was some great story to tell. I was on DreamWorks at the time, and it came through DreamWorks Publishing. Gary Duffy and Buck Moore wrote that song. I thought it was too pop for me the first time I heard it. I had to live with it for a little bit because the demo was really pop. But I'm telling you what, when we cut that record, I knew we had something big. When we tracked it and I heard my voice on it, I knew it was going to be a big, big record. And I had been off the charts for a few years. I'd been through a bad divorce and had just kind of backed off things for a while. And when Paint Me a Birmingham hit, it freaking exploded. And a lot of people don't realize I had that whole string of number ones. I had like 18 number one records. Paint Me a Birmingham's not one of those number ones. It was just a top 5 record. It didn't make it all the way. It died at 4.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would
and that,
never.
To me, is the biggest record I ever had. That had more of an impact than Time Marches On. Time was a multiple week number one record.
Just,
Yeah.
I mean, what an iconic. Was there a good story behind that one?
Yeah, Time Marches On, man. I changed producers at the time, and I was working with Don Cook, and Don had just Bobby Braddock had just finished writing it, and I've had some memory discrepancies over the years. In my memory, I thought that Ronnie Dunn had tried to that they'd pitched it to Ronnie, and he had passed on it, but the truth was Bobby had to remind me that it was actually Alan Jackson that had passed on it, so it was almost an Alan Jackson song. But I just happened to be in Don Cook's office on it, Sony Tree Publishing, when Bobby brought it in. It's like, oh man, and that song to me. The reason that I liked it so much, I think it's one of the best written songs of all the body of work that I have, because it's dealing with multiple generations of a family in a 3.5-minute song. But the thing that made me cut it was the shock factor of it. Nobody had ever said the word dope in a country song that got played on radio. I knew it was either going to be massive or it was going to die on the vine. Because when you sing a song that says smokes a lot of dope, because I'd already had some pushback with If the World Had a Front Porch a few years earlier because I said the word cuss. I had radio stations that wouldn't play that song because I said the word cuss. So here you are talking about an illegal substance on the radio. So, I mean, it was weird back then. Dude.
Holy cow. Yes. And now you got Gavin Adcock every single night.
Yeah, it's a different world. I mean, I remember when we cut If the Good Die Young, that song's got a screaming fiddle solo on it, but the original track, when we cut it, had a rock and roll guitar on. The label lost their freaking mind over that and made us go back in and put a fiddle solo on it because it was too rock and roll. And now you got guys like Keith Urban, Brad Paisley. Everything is so guitar heavy these days, but it was not that way back in the early 90s.
What makes you keep doing what you're doing? Not, you're getting into some other stuff outside of music, but on the music, I mean, like I said, last time we were together, you're on the road with Riley, you're about to leave where you're at right now to go on the road. Like, why do you keep doing it?
I still love it, man. I'm trying to get my mind back to getting back in the studio. I hadn't done anything in the studio in a while. I just don't know where I'm at musically right now. I know we live in a world where the mentality right now is you just got to keep feeding the monster. But when I go out and do my shows, I've got a big enough body of work that people want to hear the songs that they're familiar with. That's what they want to hear. So I can't, you go spend all this time and money cutting a project and putting your heart and soul into it, and it's not what people. So it's a little disheartening from the seat that I'm sitting in as far as making new music. So I've got to get myself to the right mentality to want to go back and cut stuff. But I've got all these other things that I'm doing on the peripheral music. I mean, I still work as much as I want to. I mean, I work more shows than I care to work, man. I'm very blessed at the place that I am in my life right now.
I don't know how to respond to that because you're right. Like, I want to sit here and be like, hey, man, get back in the studio and let's see if you can make some magic. But you are... It's but cool that you can admit it, but if you say, Pat, if you come to one of my shows, what do you want to hear? And you're right, like that old school stuff is some jams.
Yeah, and I'm not on a major label, and the reality of it is there's no way in hell that I'm ever going to get another single on the radio stations as a solo artist unless I piggyback off of an artist that's on a major deal right now. There's no way I'm ever going to get another song at the top of the charts. It's impossible.
Has anybody ever done it?
The last I did it. I mean, when Find Out Who Your Friends Are went number one in 2007. I mean, that was the last number one that I had, and it was on my own imprint, and I did it out of the box when I got released from Universal. I put my own imprint together and outsourced 2 promotion staffs, and that's the longest charted record that I ever had. There's another thing people don't realize: Find Out Who Your Friends Are was on the charts 52 weeks. Now, that's normal now, having a record on the charts for basically a year. But back during my heyday, 12 to 14 weeks to get to the top of the charts was normal. You put a single out. I was getting 4 singles an album. I was cutting a new record every year and a half. And over a 10-year period, I was able to amass a body of work that I can sustain my career the rest of my life. Now you're going out and you're cutting 12 or 14 songs on an album. Yeah. You're working one single, and it's on the charts for an entire year. How are you able to amass a body of work? You're going in and putting all your emotions and everything, and you're writing all this stuff that never finds the light of day. And it's kind of frustrating from an artist perspective because you cut all this great stuff and you want it. Where does it go? It's frustrating to me the way the format of radio is structured right now. I just think they could do a lot better job at helping young artists amass a body of work that's more efficient than the way that they're doing it.
I mean, so your last number one was almost 20 years ago. Yeah. So what we could do, we could lock in on one song. 20th anniversary of your last number one is coming up, and maybe we just push it hard enough to get. All you need is one more number one, man.
Yeah, I won't. When I promoted "Find Out Who Your Friends Are," I think I spent about $250,000 on just the promotion cost of working that record.
Crazy.
A friend of mine that is doing the independent thing and released a song a few years ago, and I won't even say the name of it, but he told me he spent $750,000 on that record and barely got it top 20.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. As an independent artist, it costs so much money. Your format's only got 18 current songs in it. And you got all these major labels out there that are working all these, and they got the leverage. And was there 4 or 5 people calling the shots on all this stuff on radio anyway?
Sure.
And are the album sales, because you don't have physical sales to prop that up anymore? It's awful hard to rationalize that, spending that kind of money when you're not selling product, because you don't make the same royalty rates off streaming. Nowhere close to what we used to make off physical product. It's not the same.
Would you ever get into acting?
I've done some. Actually, I just finished a movie called Heartland with Jessica Chastain. Did just a couple of days on location last year, and it should be out sometime in the next few months. I'm not sure. But Carter Faith, new female artist.
Yep.
Carter, I did some scenes with Carter and with Jessica Chastain, so I'm excited about that coming out soon. And I was going to L.A. I had a couple of different acting coaches that I was working with over the last several years, but it's just weird going out to California these days, man. It's disheartening. It's kind of pull the plug on all that stuff. So I've dabbled in a few things over the years. As things present themselves, I'll take advantage of it.
It's interesting because you're so passionate about what you just said that, and I have my fiance's from Los Angeles. Her dad was 32 years LAPD, and I'm talking about, like, this is going to sound wrong, and I don't mean it the wrong way, but they're good Californians, and I think you understand what I'm talking about.
Yep.
But, like, her dad's even like, man, because it's a beautiful state.
Oh, it's wonderful. Yeah.
But even they're like, I don't know. And she obviously stayed in Florida with me. But you were so passionate when you say that, because anytime I talk to, like, a person that used to go out to California, like, especially back in the day, and how great it was, and it's still a great state. I'm not saying it's not, but you get what I'm saying. But I kind of...
As far as natural beauty and great people out there, but on the downside of it, I've got about a 3-week run out there. August, September, I got a bunch of shows out there. Man, we're looking at $10 a gallon just for gas. Take a fleet of buses out there and your trucks and stuff and go out there and try to promote shows. They tax you to death. The economy out there is awful. The price of fuel and just getting in and out of the state's tremendous. It's basically as difficult and as unprofitable as going into Canada right now.
Like in sports, you get taxed wherever you play that specific game.
Yep.
Is that how it works in music? Like, if you play a show in Florida, Georgia, California, North Dakota, do you get...
I have to do a tax return for every state that I've ever worked in, whether I play that state or not that particular year. So I pretty much, I've played Alaska. So the only state that I've never played in is Hawaii. So I have to do income tax for every single state, every single year.
That's interesting. Yep. I have a segment on this show, okay? It's called Cut to the Chase, presented by Case Knives. Now, right here, I got your brand new Case knife, okay?
Okay.
And the Cut to the Chase segment is something that I find that I really never even knew, that I just want you to explain. And if you say, hey, I don't want to talk about when I got shot 4 times,
okay,
you don't have to. But can you just give me the rundown of, like, what happened there and, like, how that even – I had no idea that even happened.
The night that I finished recording Sticks and Stones, a friend of mine, a female friend of mine that I had graduated high school with, was coming through town, going to visit some other friends in Indiana, I believe, that we'd grown up with. And I had done the background vocals on the last track, and I was taking her around to some of the clubs and stuff that I frequented, the hangouts, the local music hangouts and stuff that I hit. And I was bringing her back to the hotel. The hotel right here on Demumbrian, that there used to be a Shoney's there, and the hotel was Shoney's. There was a restaurant and the hotel. She was staying at that hotel, and I was pulling in, dropping her off, and pulled in a slot and opened the door to a pistol stuck right to my head. Yeah. And it's like, put the keys in the ignition and get out of the car. And it was that quick. And I never saw it coming. It was that fast. And they got us out of the car. They were trying to take her up to a room, and I fought them off, and they emptied a couple of pistols on me, and she got away to the front, and they ran off.
Golly. Dang, D.
Yeah, man.
What, when you think about today's country musicians and some that you frequently are on the road with, is there anybody that you talk to, like, are you a mentor to some of these younger
I hope I
musicians?
I think I am. You know, I hope that through my podcast I'm developing relationships with the younger acts that, you know, that kind of is an open door for them, for me if they need me. Because I've seen the highs and lows of this business, and you know, I'm not going to shove my advice on somebody, but if they want it, I'm there.
Yeah.
I want to be available for them.
Was somebody there for you when you were, like, did you talk to?
Dude, when I woke up in the hospital, you know who was there? McGraw. Tim and I were tight, man.
Yeah.
And we're still tight, you know, after all these years. He was one of the first people that I remember seeing there in the hotel bed, in the hospital bed when I woke up.
And so, but when you came in 1990, was there anybody that you're like, you know what, you didn't know anybody when you came here, but.
You know, I didn't really know anybody. Joe Stampley, I'd become friends with Joe, and I knew his kids. And when I was in college, Joe was from Spring Hill, Louisiana, and I went to a small college just across the border in Arkansas. And anytime Joe was in the area, he'd let me get up and sing with him, and you know, all the little crappy clubs and stuff that were around when he'd come through and play. So I remained friends with him over the years, still stay in touch with Joe. But I really didn't know anybody else, you know. But I made friends with a lot of musicians along the way, you know. But golly, you know, trying to think. Hank Cochran was a good mentor to me. I don't know if you ever knew him. Hank was a great songwriter. I spent some time with Hank Cochran. George Jones was a great mentor to me. When things took off for me in the early 90s, my first big tour was with Jones. And I spent a lot of time with George over the years. And I got to know George more as an old grandfather figure. He was past his wild days. I mean, I'd go to family dinners and stuff with him. I mean, my kids would go to George's birthday parties and things. So I was very close to George. I sure miss him a lot.
What about, are the tours you go on these days, like, what are the main difference from, like, those guys back in the 90s to what
Things were a lot
you're
looser
now?
back then. You know, everybody's got security teams, and it's just so tense. And
Oh, dude.
And it's like, man, are you really that afraid of everything? I guess they are.
Yeah.
You know,
They're rolling in deep now.
I still don't do all that stuff.
Yeah. Just a normal guy.
Man, yeah.
Tell me.
They already shot me. What are they gonna do?
Dude, I'm telling you. That was when I saw that. I was like, I'm gonna at least see if I can get him to talk to me. That's a pretty badass thing.
Yeah.
Had to have hurt a little bit, but at least you're here to tell about it.
Yeah.
Hey y'all, it's Pat, and I'm excited to welcome Ducks Unlimited to the Like a Farmer podcast. Your hunt starts with healthy wetlands and associated habitats. From the Alaskan wilderness to the Atlantic flyway, across America's Great Plains and down the Mississippi Delta, Ducks Unlimited has been protecting and restoring habitats for nearly 90 years. But their work is far from over. They need our help to reach the next 1,000,000-acre milestone and ensure waterfowl for generations to come. DU volunteers and supporters have led the charge to fill the skies with waterfowl today, tomorrow, and forever. Why don't you come join the team that's making a real difference? Ducks Unlimited is powered by people like you. With your help, they can continue to raise funds that drive wetlands conservation across the whole continent. Whether you are out selling tickets, securing donations, or finding that next sponsor, they have a role for everyone. If you want to join today, visit www.ducks.org/volunteer. Ducks Unlimited, conservation for a continent.
Tell me about these seasonings, because this is, I mean, thank you for them, by the way, because I'm in my cooking era, so I'm definitely gonna need these. But how does this go about? Because you're still heavy in music, and you're gonna get to pick and choose. You get the opportunity because you're a brand in itself to figure out, okay, I want to dabble in this, I want to do this, I want to do that. Why the seasonings? Like, where did that cooking passion come from?
I started a nonprofit called Mission Possible, and we've been doing it over 20 years now. And every Thanksgiving we cook turkeys, and it started off in the parking lot of the rescue mission here in Nashville. And the last few years we've been doing it at the fairgrounds, and we did several thousand turkeys this last year.
I've read about that. Do you do that on Thanksgiving Day?
We do it Tuesday, the week of Thanksgiving every year.
And you just pass them out?
No. A lot of them will go to the rescue mission, but my wife has teamed up with the district offices that are over the schools in the area. We'll service about 15 different counties. We have refrigerated trucks that go out. My wife puts box meals together for families, and they sign up for a list, needy families do, and we have refrigerated trucks that'll go out, and they'll like drop 100 here and 100 there, and people sign up for
Can I do that with you this year?
Yeah, I'd love to have you. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, I want to make sure I don't forget it, because I've seen that, and you've been doing it, and I want to make sure, because that's the coolest thing.
It really is cool. But we started that, so the marinade injection was the first thing because of the poultry and stuff that we do, and it's like, okay, let's start this thing. And we're giving a huge portion of the proceeds back into Mission Possible because we are a 501c3 nonprofit. So it started off with injections. We've been working on this stuff for a while, and as we started getting things situated in retail stores, they wanted us to add a spice line, so we worked and put the 4 spices together. We're looking at adding a barbecue sauce and probably a steak marinade to the line very soon. But we're in Shields and Bumgars and several other retail stores. We're growing right now. In the next 2 years, I think we're going to have saturation in a lot of box stores all across the country, grocery stores, hopefully Tractor Supply, and a lot of other retail stores all around the country. And we're knocking on the door with a lot of it right now. I think we could be in Walmart, but we're having to hold back. We don't have our distribution in place yet. There's still some pieces that we've got to get in place, and everything they're telling me, if you miss an order, you're dead in the water. So we're slow playing it, trying to get all of our stuff put together.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
All of this hinged from Mission Possible, and my kids have gluten allergies and celiac disease, so these are all natural. There's no artificial flavors, no artificial colors. They're gluten free, and those seed oils, so they're all natural. And that was a big reason that I started it, and I use this stuff on everything. I mean, there's a good balance of all these flavors. I think you'll like them as you get a chance to use them. You can shake it up real good.
This is awesome.
So there's no preservatives or anything in it, so they're all natural.
What's your favorite thing to cook?
Everything.
Yeah.
I'd grill steaks last night, but I cook all kinds of stuff. Man, I can do casseroles, and I'm the primary cook at home. I cook everything. I mean, I do a lot of different poultry, grilling stuff, baking stuff. I like it all.
What would you say this is starting to really take off?
We've been working on this for about 4 years,
okay,
and we're just now starting to get legs underneath it, just starting to get in retail stores right now. So in the next 2 years, you're going to see this thing explode. We're about to get all the pieces in place. It's just about to take off.
I could see maybe a cooking show.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of stuff. I built an outdoor kitchen at home, so we'll get together, every couple of months or so and take a day and do content, and I'll cook a bunch of stuff, and we'll try different versions of the spices and the injections and stuff, so I'm playing around with all of it.
Is there any other type of, and they could be hobbies right now, but you think maybe could be an investment down later? Like, what else are you kind of?
I've got a 500 home gated subdivision real estate deal that me and one partner are working on. We're just about to get through entitlement right now. We're real close to getting that thing put together. I've been working on that for several years too, so that's been very time consuming and been frustrating going through small town politics trying to get through all that stuff. We're real close to turning the corner on that too. By the end of this year, we should be cutting roads.
Busy man.
Yeah.
Hey, do a game on this show, okay?
Come on.
It's called Give 'Em the Boot, presented by TECOVAS. Now, as I get these seasonings out, that I'm in Nashville for another 5 days, so I'm gonna make sure I send you a video of what I'm gonna. Now I'm gonna go to the grocery store and choose one of these. If I want to do, I'm big on grilling chicken wings. I know I'm playing the game, but I'm still locked in like a seasoning. What would be best for
chicken wings? The cracked black pepper and the Cajun.
All right.
And like stuff, I like that right there. Man, I put that on corn on the cob. I put that on everything. The Cajun is real good, and it's not too spicy. Be real careful with the seasoned salt. It'll get salty on you fast. You got to be careful with it. Just a little bit goes a long way.
Okay. Hey, give them the boot. Now, I've got a brand new pair of boots for you. But to get these, there's 4 questions in that boot. Okay. You can give one of them the boot, meaning you don't have to answer it.
So do I get all 4 of them to look over first, or do I have to pass on it to get to the next question?
You got to pass on it. Come on. That was a great we've never had anybody ask that. That was a great boot.
Know.
They're all very family friendly,
Well, that takes all the fun out of it.
Exactly, I know, but
So reach in and
I
grab
love
one.
your team. You've got a great team. There's a reason why you come on these shows, and they,
Okay.
family-friendly show.
All right. If you had to choose your last meal, what would it be? Man, my last meal would probably be, and it changes from time to time, but right now, because we're at the end of the season, I would say crawfish. Because it's one of my favorite things. And I think the fact that you have to wait a half a year before you can have it again. So we're right here at the tail end of it. And I just had crawfish a couple of weeks ago. But I love it so much, man. And the spicier, the better. All right, moving on. If you could choose one person to paint you a Birmingham, who would it be? My wife. Yes.
Brownie
so
points.
I'm going to keep
Brownie points.
Yep.
Since you just said you're the one that cooks in the house, you needed to say that.
That's
I
right.
just want to let you know that.
My wife can cook, but she don't have to. I'm going to have to go all four because I'm going to ask, which country artist today reminds you of your younger self? Zach Top.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'm just going to do all four.
On. Yeah, you should.
Okay.
Because this is going to be the iconic one.
Who is your Mount Rushmore of country music? I'm going to show you. George Strait, George Jones, Keith Whitley, and Merle Haggard. It's on the arm, bro.
You already have his. Oh,
It's there. It's really there.
So you already had that question done. That you'll never have
you're
a
not
better.
You're not going to have anybody do that.
Never.
Never. No.
And that question is the most common one in the boot. That he just. I can't. I have to now take that question out. And we were getting hot with the Mount Rushmore. Like I was thinking maybe I could sell it to a sponsor. It was so good. Now nobody will ever beat that. He literally has it tattooed on his arm.
It's right there. I could add one on. I could add another row of those too, which would probably be like Charlie Daniels and Randy Travis. I mean, there's a whole another list of stuff there.
So now we're going to dig into that.
Okay.
Because there's some people that were just like, okay, let me make it up on the spot, or let me like say a name to make sure that like I check it off. You have it tattooed on you.
Yeah.
So like, why were those four so monumental, or were you just that positive that they were?
George and Merle are the two big ones for me, and I spent so much time with George Jones, so those three were without a doubt. And Whitley, Whitley had a huge impact on me, and he's, of all the artists that inspired me over the years, he's the only one I didn't get to meet, because I got to meet or work with all the rest of them, and Keith died the year before I came to town. But he had such a huge impact on me as a vocalist that I just studied him so much, all his little nuances and phrasing. And I see the same thing in Zach Top. I mean, Zach's got that same thing about his voice. You could tell he's really studied it in detail.
He does.
Yeah.
And when you say that, like, what is the work ethic and study that you have to put into it?
You know, for me, it was, really dissecting how somebody would sing and phrase, where you cut off the note, where you take your breath at, where you place your vibrato, just all those little things. I mean, when I would sing and warm up, and I still do that to this day when I'm warming up before a show, when I'm listening to the old classic stuff that I warm up to, it's about trying to phrase and do the note exactly like they do it on the record, and breaking it down to the point where it's precise. You know, I hear it that precisely. Yeah, it's not like I'm just singing through it and I'm getting close. When I was learning to do that, I mean, I would dissect it. I wanted it to be spot on. I mean, down to every little detail.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I would just think that, like, hey, this is just a gift and you got lucky and you can just sing.
No, I think you develop it, but I think you have to have the ears for it too. But for me, I've always heard things that way, and I remember arguing with my siblings when I was 5 and 6 years old about phrasing or about something that was being done on a record when we were traveling in a car, because I could hear it and I could retain it. I mean all the way back to, you remember Ed Bruce? Do you remember who Ed Bruce was? Ed Bruce was a legendary songwriter, and he was an actor, and he just had a real deep baritone voice. He had a couple of hits in the 80s, early 80s that I remember years ago, and I remember arguing with my sister about some way that he was phrasing things. But I've just always could always hear it. It was really natural for me, and I don't think everybody does.
A name that gets brought up on the show a lot, that especially some of the younger ones getting into music that respect, especially when America's being celebrated or military's being celebrated, and that has now passed. Toby Keith, did you ever get to?
Oh, Toby and I were close. We're good friends. We spent a lot of time together over the years.
That's one guy. I've been fortunate enough to have a lot of people come on this show.
Yeah.
And, like, that's one that I'm like, man, I wish I could have just sat down and, like, talked with him.
Toby was a great guy, just a phenomenal friend, phenomenal person, very talented guy, great songwriter. We spent a lot of time together, toured together off and on over the years, a lot of personal time together. He was just a good cat. He was my friend.
When you think about the music that you have put out over the last 30 years, what would you want people to remember your music as? I think, does that make sense? Like, when you think about we'll put a boot in your ass, I mean, like, Toby's got some of those songs that just scream out American.
I don't think that's what the legacy that I've left, but the thing that people tell me more than anything else is thank you for being traditional and keeping it country.
Totally.
As the pop format's changed, and I've pushed the envelope a lot of that stuff. Most fans only know the body of work that they've heard on the radio. They hear all that stuff. But there's some pretty pop progressive stuff, pretty rock and roll stuff that I've done on albums scattered throughout the years, man. There's some things that were pretty challenging. So there's some deeper stuff in the body of work that I've done that might surprise people that's a little less country than you would think of.
Yeah.
For me.
That's why I enjoy, and I've never been big on, oh, this guy or gal's super popular, all these followers, we got to get. Like, this episode on this show will go so good because when I have I call them the veterans, not aging yet, I haven't been doing it all show. But everybody respects the hell out of people like you because you've been doing it for so long. But that traditional country and the storytelling, you said it earlier. That's why I enjoy this show. I mean, everybody can go and stream and listen to your music, but like getting to know you is what I enjoy doing. Like that storytelling of country music, and you were the best at it. You really were.
I've been very blessed, man. I really, we talked about this early on when we first sat down. I don't take any of it for granted. I don't. I feel very, very blessed to have been given the opportunities that I have and to have been able to leave a legacy behind. Because, if there's one thing that we all wish that we could do is leave something here that's going to live past our flesh time here on earth, and I've been able to do that.
Yeah, you
it's
have.
Pretty cool.
Amen to that. Yeah. You mentioned when CMT, there's nothing like sitting on the back porch or sitting at the house and watching those music videos.
Yeah, we
got in. I mean, how long did Julia Cole? She's a female artist out of Texas, and she was saying that It probably is expensive to do music videos these days, but why are people not doing music videos? Because that used to be the best.
I don't have an answer for you because I thought they were a huge part of an artist brand. I thought they were a great marketing tool. And, back when we were doing videos in the 90s, man, we were spending $100,000 to $150,000 a pop on those things.
Damn.
Yeah, and I was doing 2 or 3 an album. I might get 4 singles. We weren't doing 4 video. We weren't doing a video for every single, but we were doing 2 or 3 per record.
Oh, you were known as a big music video guy.
Big time.
Yeah, we have some pictures in there of young Tracy Lawrence, just a stud, stallion, man, just a complete stallion. But I guess that makes a little more sense now too, because I'm sure they're expensive these days.
There's a lot of things about that era that I miss, and I guess this has taken the place of a lot of it, but I miss the Ralph Emery show, and I miss TNN. I miss the Crook and Chase show, where we would go sit down with the host and play a couple of songs and do the whole thing. I thought that was a great part of the music industry. And I got to hang out with Dale Earnhardt. I got to do primetime country with Dale Earnhardt one time. One of my favorite memories. I got to do this thing on TNN. And I miss those things, man. Burt Reynolds had a thing called Burt Reynolds and Friends. And it was the episode that I did was me and Burt, Waylon Jennings, Jerry Reed, and Joe Diffie. You know how freaking cool that was? To sit at a table with those guys, man.
People don't do stuff like that anymore.
Yeah, that's how cool.
Yeah, I wonder if I should just start like surprising people and like book everybody at the same time.
Wouldn't it be cool to get 2 or 3 acts together and just have these conversations like that to share stories? You know, especially if they come from different times and places. You know, God, sitting down with Jerry Reed, man, and hearing all those old stories. And I remember, we all played songs, and I sat down and played like a verse and a chorus of Time Marches On, and watching Waylon when I would hit some of those low notes. I'm watching it just hit Waylon like he really was impressed by it. I remember it made the hair stand up on my arms. Like I connected with Waylon Jennings. How cool, man.
Dude. I wish I would have told you to bring your guitar to hear little Time Marches On. You know how sweet that would have been? We don't have a guitar here, do we? No, god dang it. We should. No, you're on to something now because which I'm curious why you even started. I think it's awesome. There's really nobody doing it. Your podcast, we should do like a collab one.
I love that.
Where we'd have like conversations around a table.
Yeah.
What made you even start? You would have thought, once again, I'm not aging you. You would have thought that if any country musician is going to start a podcast, it would have been like, you know, some of the younger cats in town. But you're like, I don't really know another musician that has their podcast.
Not like mine, and there's a specific path that got me to that place. I started this radio show called Honky Tonkin' years ago, and I did 10 years of honky tonkin'. And the premise and the format that we were doing, I was doing, the songs we were playing was 80s, 90s, early 2000s. So I wasn't allowed to have any current acts because at the peak of it, I was on like 170-something markets. I mean, it was a big radio show. So they didn't want me doing anything that affected the charts because I did have some stations that overlapped. So I was trapped doing interviews with legacy acts and older artists. I mean, I had Reba, I had a lot of the older, you know, traditional acts from the 80s and 90s. And I just felt like as my skill set got better at navigating interviews, that I wanted to be able to talk to younger people and diversify what I was doing. And the only way to do that was to branch out and start a podcast because I really felt like I had developed enough as an interviewer that my skills had grown enough that I was not getting the most out of it that I could. I ended the radio show a couple of years ago so we could focus completely just on the podcast, and I've been very happy with it. I don't think we've scratched the surface of what's going to come of it completely. I think we're just really getting started. You know, we're 4 years into it now. I think we're knocking on about 150 episodes, and we're not killing ourselves. I mean, I don't do a ton of them, but we've done I think 5 this week, and then I had a couple outside of my stuff today.
Oh,
so,
wow. I mean,
but it's added a lot of depth to me, and it's given me the opportunity to build relationships with a lot of these younger acts that I wouldn't have any other way. And so now when I'm at a festival or something, hey, come over and sit and visit with me a little bit. It's like I've got a foundation to build off of, which I think is very cool. And I don't think a lot of people from my era are in a position where they're able to do that. So
no,
I think it's
or
a great
even
tool.
Think like that.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing that you do a really good job at is you got to be adaptable. At some point, you do have to be able to adapt, and you have a platform that's a podcast. You would have never thought. I don't even think your generation's even thinking like that.
And I don't like. I feel like this generation now, they're posting stuff constantly. Some acts are posting multiple times a day.
Oh yeah.
I'm not that guy. I'm not going to do that. I feel like it's too intrusive into my personal life. And it's not something that I want to do. I don't want to do that much of it. But this gives me a platform and a situation where we can boil pizzas of that stuff so I can feed the machine and still do it where I'm not losing myself into it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and you mentioned a couple of things during that. Number one, you said a skill set, which I appreciate you even saying that. It's not like it's easy doing this. Now, you've got to be sociable and be able to build a relationship, but it's a skill set to do this and build a relationship and have
and navigate the flow.
Correct. Have educational conversations. What what's the future for that, do you think? And really for all of it, like what is coming down the pipeline that you're like really looking forward to, that you're like, you know, we're going to grow the podcast. Obviously we got the seasoning, music. I think you got to get back in there and get something rolling.
I agree, and I'm sure at some point, probably by the latter part of this year, before I shut down in December, I'm going to try to get in and at least do 3 or 4 sides of something. I'm going to get back because I've been writing a little bit throughout the last couple of years. But to your question, I don't know what that means. At what point do people start burning out all of this where it's too much of an overload? What point does Joe Rogan become irrelevant? Is that tomorrow? Is that 5 years down the road where people get burnt out on that? I think for me is continuing to evolve, where I'm not just doing people within my own industry. I've had a few comedians on. I've had a few actor friends on. I'd like to get more intellectual people, professors, and maybe, just kind of diversify and see where it takes me. But you've also got to be conscious of the audience that you're playing to. I want to grow. I don't want people to get bored. Because, if I'm sitting down with nothing about my peers, at some point I'm going to get very redundant with my questions. I really don't want to do that. So at what point does it become... Do you get burnt out on it? Does it become boring to my fan base out there? I don't know what that means, but we'll know when we get there.
Yeah.
And it's just like the reason that I stopped my radio show at 10 years. I didn't want to keep flogging that thing till it became something that wasn't enjoyable for me or for the audience anymore. Sometimes you want to stop when you're doing well. You don't want to beat it into the ground.
Yeah, it's been interesting for us because we have, country musicians coming on, but then the next week you'll have Josh Allen with the Bills. I've got Sam Darnold with the Seahawks. And I don't know if you remember the TV show Entourage.
Oh, yeah.
So Vinny Chase has been on the show.
Yeah.
Adrian Grenier.
And he's kind of retired, man. I was a huge fan of that show.
He's in farm in Texas now.
That's what I've heard. He's kind of slowed the pace of life down. But I was a big fan of that show, Turtle and Johnny. Man, I love that freaking show.
What do you watch right now, like when it comes to TV shows?
My wife and I love a lot of the streaming stuff. We're into Dutton Ranch right now, huge Yellowstone fans. It's really sad the way that Costner exited out of all that. Madison. The Madison was really good. We just watched the first few episodes of that with that was another Taylor Sheridan. And what's her name? Gosh. The female actresses in it. I'm going brain dead right now. But anyway.
With who?
With the Madison. Kurt Russell was the patriarch, and she was his wife, and then that was really good. It's one of the more powerful things that I've watched. I don't really watch a lot of network TV, and I don't know, sports has changed. I still get into college sports a lot.
Who's that? Who do you get into?
I grew up in Arkansas, so
see.
it's painful being an Arkansas Razorback fan. Football teams, it's been a struggle over the years, and baseball's been pretty good, but they're not doing well right now.
Yeah, same.
But I follow the SEC pretty heavy. I like a lot of SEC teams, and I've got a lot of friends in Louisiana, and I got to listen to that crap all the time. Being an LSU fan, I have to listen to that all the time. It's painful.
The Sheridan concept right there, we actually had a long argument about that. Yellowstone Mecca. Yellowstone is really what brought a lot of people into this lifestyle, by the way, mixed with COVID and all of that. That was, even the concept of the show of like, man, well, we need to attack this lifestyle. It's cool that everybody wants to be part of this lifestyle, but let's attack it. I don't know. I'm not really getting to – the Yellowstone was kind of up here. I like Landman a lot.
I like Landman a lot, too. But the last season didn't hold my attention. They spun off on the sex scenes and the stuff with the daughter and all that stuff. I would have much rather they kept the writing focused more on the content of the oil fields and the roughnecks and all that kind of stuff. I think it got diluted.
Totally agree. The Marshall... Riley, stick to country music. You stink at acting. No, I'm kidding. But the Marshall's fine.
It's okay, but it's watered down network.
Correct.
And I've tried to watch it a few times, but I didn't like the casting choices. I felt like it's just not. It's not.
Come on, Riley did okay.
Riley did okay,
yeah.
but it's just not as good as what Yellowstone was.
Yeah,
it's not.
I don't know whether it was 18. Which one had Sam Elliott?
That was Landman.
No, but he was in whether it's 1883 or 1923, you know, because
it was 1883 because he was on the one that McGraw was on, and that was 1883.
see, I like that. I like the other one,
and I like 1923 too. Spencer and that whole thing.
Yeah,
I really dug that. Have you tried to pull, because it was so confusing? I actually pulled the timeline up and tried to understand the sequence of how it all played through, and it's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot to get your brain wrapped around.
It's a lot. That creative thing that Sheridan's a psycho when it comes to that. And then the Madison, and then I feel like, then you've got Tulsa King, you got this, you got that. I mean,
and the one, the other one, Mayor of Kingstown.
Yeah,
that was really good. I followed it, but he must have a tremendous cast of writers around him that are piecing all this stuff, because he's just kind of overseeing it more like a producer would that's got 5 different acts in 5 different studios at the same time. He's not physically writing every single element of all of it, but his attention to detail and his research is impeccable. And you can tell when you started Landman, they had their dialogue down. They had the swagger of the people that were in those situations. I mean, he really tries to get the minor details right. Yeah. That's impressive to me.
I love talking to you, man. I got one more question, because I could go get another 12-pack and we can be here all night. Do you think, because we were talking about the Sheridan and the movie stuff, it was always L.A., L.A., L.A. Country music, I got to go to Nashville. Do you think that's always going to be the case when it comes to country music? Because look, you talk about Sheridan, and he's kind of moving to that Texas, like, hey, I don't have to go out west I'm going to do TV and film here in Texas.
Yep.
Will we ever get to a point where Nashville's not the spot to be for country music?
I don't know. If you try to look at what the other options would it be Austin? I think because of the infrastructure so established here, and the reasons that I don't know if it's ever possible is because of the studio environment, because of the musicianship that's here, because of the songwriters that are here. You have all the tools that you need. I mean, everything is here. If you need any type of musician, if you need any type of instrument, a background singer, anything that you're looking for, they're a 15-minute phone call to a cartage company away. Everything that you want is right here. I think it's more efficient than L.A. It's more efficient than New York. But you know, I've found that, you know, sometimes a change of scenery can be inspirational to you as a songwriter to get out here a little bit, but I don't know if we'll ever lose the infrastructure of what Nashville is. But Nashville has become so much more now than just being Music City. I don't know if calling Nashville Music City even encompasses all of what Nashville really is these days. It's gotten so much more than that.
Which is cool.
Yeah, in a lot of ways it is.
Where do you see yourself, like, in 10 years? You're going to move at some point?
I'll never
go to
leave.
A beach?
No, I'll never leave. We got a little place down in Texas that I love to go to. I don't want to live there full time. You know, a week here and a week there. I find myself getting way too complacent and getting a little sluggish when I stay down there too long. It's a different pace of life. I don't know. I think at some point I'm looking for the off ramp. I don't want. I used to say that I was going to work till I died, and I'd want to die on the tour bus, but I don't know if that's the case anymore. And you know, maybe another 10, 12 years, I'm going to start looking for an off ramp. And I say that. Let me preface this by saying, I want everything I have paid off. I want to be able to stop if I want to. That don't mean I will. I just want my family taken care of. I want all my pieces taken care of, the estate planning taken care of, the wills and the trusts and everything done, so I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. I don't know if I will ever be able to completely stop, but I don't want to grind like I'm still doing, 85 days a year. I don't know if I want to continue doing that indefinitely.
Willie's still doing it.
Yeah. I don't think he's working. He's not doing 85 night
shows.
No. I could see me, if I could get down to 35 days a year, 35 to 50 dates in the next 5 years.
You'll just do it until.
Like what a straight do. I was played golf with John Michael Whitby, straight spin, played all day. What they do, 2 or 3 shows last year?
They did. Yeah. But he keeps on saying, it's my last show. Make sure you buy the tickets, come see me. And then, but the next year but see, I do think Straight's been saying that for a while now, Tracy.
Yeah, but
now Alan Jackson, this is going to be the final
but his
one
health,
coming up.
His health is dictating that, and
100%.
That's a whole different thing.
Yeah,
and in the perfect world, if all these other business ventures take off for me, and financially I get to where this is supporting my lifestyle, I'm comfortable with that. whatever my employees take, if I could sit down and map it out, how much does it take to keep all of my people on salary, to take care of all their needs? How many dates do I need to do that, to pay all my infrastructure, my overhead, my production, all that stuff? How many shows do I have to work every year to do that and sustain them at a living wage from now until the day that I'm done? That's what I would like to try to do.
So if you get to your like mid-late 90s and you're still kicking, you'd still want to do music?
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. I'm just wondering. I mean, how old's Willie?
Well, he's 92. Yeah.
I mean, that'd be cool. People still going to want to hear
how my body
everything.
feels.
Yeah, no,
that's a lot of it. I mean, it's a lot of it. It's like, can you still go out there and do it? Can you do it? Can sustain the quality level of it, and can you physically continue to do it?
Well, you seem to be in good shape.
Yeah, I'm having some health issues. You know, I've got some bone and joint issues.
Yeah.
I actually have to have an ankle surgery at the end of the year. I've been struggling with some joint stuff, so I'm gonna have to take a few months off the first of the year. But you know, we navigate it. It's just part of it.
And then coming down the pipeline, some festivals, anything else right now? I mean,
no, right now, I mean, I'm working a lot. I mean, I'm basically doing 3 days a week. I mean, I don't think I've got a weekend off till end of October. I think from right now we're grinding it out. We're hitting it hard.
We going to Florida anytime soon?
I don't know. Are we going to Florida? I know I'd
like to come out to a show.
Orange Beach. I'm at the Wharf this weekend, and then Myrtle Beach. I mean, shoot. In my mind, I don't think I see any Florida stuff.
Is there a venue that you're still wanting to play? There really can't be, right?
Man, I think I've played pretty much every venue that's out there.
Times 5.
Yeah, I mean everything, and I've seen a lot of them come and go. That I don't do clubs anymore. I've kind of phased past that, and there's several reasons why. One, I don't typically want to do a bunch of shows that start at 11 o'clock at night. I like to go on about 8 or 8:30. But I don't want to. I think I'm losing the ability to cultivate the next generation of fans if I just play bars all the time, and I think it's you kind of trap yourself. So the only bar that I still play every other year is Billy Bob's, and I've kind of passed by the rest of them. But there's theaters and civic centers and stuff all around the country, man. There's thousands of them to play.
Yeah,
there's no end to them.
It will be interesting on this kind of next wave of consumer of country music, what kind of hits home versus what doesn't, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and who knows what that's going to be. Will the next hot thing will be the resurgence of bro country? I mean, who knows what that's going to be. Right now, I believe that 90s country is what we all looked at classic rock as, in the 80s. That I think 90s country is going to sustain for quite a while. I think there's a nostalgia about it. It was the last decade before social media, before smartphones, before all that. I think it's going to kind of hold a special place in everybody's heart for at least for the rest of my life.
Yeah, but when you were in the 90s, what were people saying? What were they? Were like, man, that 70s country music, that was.
No, the 90s were it. When we were in it, we were in it. It was all about us. I mean, we were the rock stars of the era. We were. I mean, we were it. Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I could just be a fly on the wall on some of that.
And it was a whole lot of fun, man. And there was so much camaraderie back then too. We were all happy for each other. Everybody kind of had their own slot. Nobody was trying to sound like anybody else. We kind of did our own thing. It was a real special time.
Ton of collabs going on back there.
Not a ton of collabs. We did a few things here and there, but it wasn't like now. All these collabs now seem to be generated by labels. It's all marketing tools
for sure, yeah.
and cross-pollinating each other's platforms and all that stuff. And when we did stuff before, it was because we just wanted to do things with each other.
Yeah. Dude, I could sit here for hours, man. I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Absolutely.
Derek knows I nerd out when it comes to that because I just love this type of stuff. And you're one of the guys that are still doing it, so you see both sides of it. And I just think it's really cool, the knowledge that you have and just kind of the what's next. Because I'm a big believer. I get it. You have 18 number ones, whatever it is. And people want to hear that, but I'd love to see, maybe another record come out.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to make another record. I promise. I will.
And then I'm excited for the Thanksgiving. Count me in. I'm going to get with the team like that Tuesday of Thanksgiving
Tuesday week of Thanksgiving. Yes.
Here in town.
At the Nashville Fairgrounds.
And we were going to be cooking, and we'll pass them out.
Absolutely. Well, we will load things up in a truck, and they'll go out the next day.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll get that nailed down. Really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you, brother.
And as always, every single Wednesday, tune in to Like a Farmer, see who's on the show. As always, like, comment, subscribe, share, do whatever you got to do to be like a farmer.